Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be comparing the Mothers CMX system consisting of ceramic 3-in-1 polish and coat, as well as their ceramic spray coating designed to top it. And we're going to compare it to the Hybrid Solutions ceramics polish and wax, which I just picked up, and top that with their ceramic spray coating. Now, we're going to test this in a couple different ways. I am actually going to do this as a long term. I'm going to put them on either half of the hood and let them duke it out in the real world, where things actually mean something. I'm also going to put them on a black test panel. A flashy light here, which you can see isn't... For a black panel, it's actually not too shabby, but I'm going to put it on this panel to compare how these perform with this on top, just as an initial beading thing, as well as how these perform on their own, because the ceramic polish and wax is sort of a one hit, like it does a wax and a polish, whereas this is a little bit more of a prime. It doesn't really give you any beading hydrophobics or any long-term protection. I have shown it before, but we're going to do it head-to-head here and make sure everyone gets their fair shake. And I am also going to use another black panel I have that is intentionally swirled and hazed up to see how much correction these can do, because the ceramic polish and wax has a fair bit of abrasive in it. I think it's got more than the CMX, but we shall see. So we're going to see how well they do on their own, as well as how they look topped. And we'll tape it off so everyone gets their own little sections. And so yeah, the hood of the car has some old products on it from a previous test, but I'm just gonna let these apply. I'm not gonna polish those off with a dedicated polish. I'm gonna use these to remove the residue and to put down their foundations and then top. Now, as you know, this needs to wait 24 hours before it can be topped with this guy, whereas this you put on immediately. So there will be some time outside in the elements between the two coats on these guys. Now, to make it fair, they state that a second coat can be applied, I think it's 24 hours after the fact. I'll have to find it, but I believe you can do a second coat of this, but again, you have to wait a day. So they're both gonna get 2 coats, whereas this is one of the coats will come from this, one will come from that. Both these will come from this guy because, again, it can be applied immediately. It doesn't need to wait. And does that sound unfair? Maybe. Does it sound like a leg up for CMX, seeing as it is 1-1, but this one having 2-in-1, more protection built in? I think it's fair. So that's how we're going to run it. That's how we're going to do the test. We're not going to go any crazy chemical stuff. I want to do this as a real world because it's just so much more relevant. We are getting a ton of moisture in Vancouver right now, to the point where we're getting quite a bit of flooding actually. I am okay, but there is a lot of people out there who are not. So this is going to be a very wet environment for this test, and it's not getting a nice summer day, that's for sure. So performance that I get might not reflect the performance where you live because of the differences in weather. We are fairly cold right now and we're very wet. So most paint just doesn't like, or paint protection products don't like the cold. They slow down their performance a lot in the cold. Even though it's there, it's just that cold temperatures change the way the water behavior is. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this and saying, hey, I got different results. It's like, everyone's gonna get their own results. I'm showing you mine. So without further ado, let's get to prepping some panels, and tomorrow morning we'll check the initial water behavior with just water. There'll be no soaps. Alrighty. Okay, just before I start polishing here, I'm just gonna show you guys the hood. The car just came back from the body shop. The hood wasn't painted, but the front bumper was. It was removed, so nothing happened on the car, but I'm pretty sure they gave the hood, or maybe it's from my last test, but there's very little swirling going on here. So, and because it's silver, I'm not going to be able to show you too much correction on this guy, but we'll look into that later on in another video. Yeah, just so you can see minimal swirls and stuff. So again, this is going to be more just a durability test versus a a gloss improver. We'll use the black test panel for that. So yeah, okay, here we go. So the instructions on the turtle wax are a little interesting. We're using obviously the machine application. We're using a 5.5-inch white Lake Country CCS pad. It states 4 die size drops, spread evenly, work in 2 foot by 2 foot sections. So I'm basically going to have to do the hood in roughly 2 sections, or at least the half of the hood that I'm working on. It says to remove with a wet towel. So we will see how it wiped off with a dry towel. If I have to, I will wet a towel up and remove any moisture. It's apparently a part of the shine locking polymers or activated polymers or something like that. So maybe I'll just use a wet rag. I'll do both sections back to back and then wipe it all off with a wet rag and then go over it with a dry rag. Follow the instructions to the T. The CMX one is not that complicated. It is just work in, wipe off, go. So we're gonna start now with the turtle wax side, and then we'll jump over to the mother side and we'll go from there. Didn't quite get 4 dime size drops on there because it's quite warm and runny, but we're gonna start on the back side and work forward. Probably gonna speed this up because it's gonna be a little more tedious, but spread it around on 1, ramp it up to about 5, work it in, and move on. Okay, so that's the one section there. It smells fantastic. It was fairly easy to spread, not too much bite on the pad or anything like that. Overall, no drama. So I'm gonna crack on here and we'll punch in just to show you the mother side, and then we'll get to the application of CMX spray coating, because again, this side needs to wait 24 hours. Anyway. Okay, I've got my wet microfibre here. It's just very slightly damp. I'm gonna wipe this over and I'll let you guys look right here at the light so you can see what's going on with the paint. And I'm just gonna see, you know, how this goes. I've got a dry guy ready to follow up with, so here we go. My first thought is it's grippy. So I think I can see why they want you to use a wet one. It has quite a heavy residue. I'm going to flip this over to the short nap side. Give it another buff over. It's smooth though. It feels smooth. Okay. Grab the dry one. Oh, yeah, that feels great. Actually, that feels really nice. So, if you're using this and you're not wiping it off with a wet cloth, do it. It works fine. And you know, they made the product, they know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, no, that's slick. That's nice and slick. Cool. Looks wise, it may have taken a bit off. Again, silver paint wasn't in too bad a shape to begin with, which is atypical for this car because besides the hood, nothing else gets polished on it ever because it's silver. But let's move over to mother side, quickly check that out, and then move on with the application of CMX spray coating. Okay, so CMX is primed and ready to go. Worth noting, CMX's bottle is way nicer. That topper it has on it is fantastic. It's extremely easy to dispense, and it's cleanly, you know, comes out. It doesn't barf things everywhere. So muchly prefer that. Same thing as before, spread on speed 1, buff up at speed 5, and then wipe off. Mothers, you use a dry cloth and you take it off immediately, because this again doesn't need to cure, it doesn't need to haze over. It is a primer. So not too bad, maybe not quite as slick as turtle wax, but you know, it works in fine. That's not super wet or anything. It's pretty light. Doesn't smell very good, so you know, Demetric there, I guess. You know. Yeah, I'm gonna finish the front of the hood and then we'll get to the wipe off. Okay, now we're gonna do the wipe off. So you can see right here at the light, there's the polish residue, fresh cloth. And it's gone. It's got a sort of feels like the Meguiar's polishes do, like Ultimate Compound and Ultimate Polish. Got that sort of sound to it, but smooth, easy, pretty, not too much biting going on. Gets it off in one go. Flip just to make sure. It's smooth, but it's not slick, if that makes any, if it's worth knowing for you. I don't find this to be the slickest, but it feels smooth. It feels like it's clean. As far as gloss and appearance goes, it's about the same as it was before. I don't personally think it's any better. So, yeah. Okay, now to put on CMX Spray Coating. Okay, so we'll be using ceramic spray coating, applying it with a microfiber applicator. There's your instructions. If you want to pause and read, by all means go for it. And you see here it is. For increased depth, durability, and protection, additional layers. Notice stacking can be done after 24 hours of curing. So 24 hours, but we get one coat of this, and then that one gets the coat from the wax. So we're going to open the trigger, couple sprays into here, just sort of work it down, and there we go. On there, and just apply it in. You can see it there already. So we're gonna work it in. We can do the whole half of the hood because you're actually supposed to let this sit for a minute. I've used these applicators before to apply it with good results. And you get better mileage with an applicator as long as you do it properly. You do have to prime it, but we'll get it on there good and thick. We'll cross hatch it. CMX actually crystallizes in things, so just be mindful of that. Some of your applicators, if you don't get them washed right away, you might actually have to throw it out. I've seen it happen to one of mine before because I didn't know it actually hardened, because typically when I use these types of products they don't, but this one does. For whatever reason it does make some crusties. So and if you let it bake into an applicator for a couple of days, it might not come back again. There you go. Worked it in good. There's just a nice minimal consistent haze on there. And to do, allow a few minutes for coating to bond to surface. So punch it off and we'll come back in for the wipe off. Okay, it's been a few minutes. Again, wiping off with a fresh rag. Not too much drama. Slicker feeling now than it did with polish. You really can't really apply, because of how it has to set up and cure for a few minutes, it's really better to apply this with an applicator, and it's much easier to work with when you do, because it is on the thick side. It's not super watery. It's got a very oily spread, but it's not slick. And I find rags, they just sort of fold and pull themselves over. So yeah, much prefer using a microfiber applicator, not a foam one. They're a bit too porous. Use microfiber or suede if you've got some of those kicking around. But flip, that little extra bite. Yeah, it's smooth. It's not as slick as that side, but it is smooth. Yeah, no drama. That's how you use them if you didn't know. But yeah, not too bad. So this is where we end it for now. I still got to get all the other panels prepped, and we'll film that maybe either tonight or tomorrow. I don't know what my schedule's like. But, yeah, and we'll just pull Mr. Flashlight out again. You can see. Zoom, you bugger. It's about the same as it was. Oh, I did not know it could flash. Look at that. But yeah, it's definitely filled in a bit more. I don't know if that's filling or correcting. I'm going to assume it's filling, but they both look very good. They both look very equal. So we'll check the water behavior tomorrow with this with one coat and that side with just the turtle wax. Okay, it's the next day. Car was in the garage all night long, so everything got proper cure. Again, as a reminder, turtle wax, ceramic polish and wax is on this side. CMX 3-in-1 topped with their spray is on this side. So this is the base behavior. Both of these will be topped. This will be topped with the Hybrid Solutions Ceramic Spray Coating. But anyway, here's the initial water behavior. I'm not going to add much else today because otherwise this video is going to get super long, but we'll be doing the second coat tonight and setting up more of the test panels as well. That's not too shabby. CMX is at a higher level, but I kind of knew that going into it. It's a very hydrophobic product, but the ceramic polish and wax for one application, you know, with a polisher, it's doing very well. It looked quite good, and you know, if you needed to do a one hit for a customer or something like that, you know, full correction's not in the cards, and you don't have time for waxing, or they don't want to pay the extra steps. That's totally reasonable. Don't know exactly how much it corrects yet, but that performance is very, very respectable. It's not the cheapest product though. They got it, I think, for about $22 Canadian, but yeah, I've seen much worse. The Mothers Brazilian Carnauba cleaner wax was substantially less hydrophobic, and besides correction abilities, I think that's a really good starting point. I don't know how much better it's going to get with ceramic spray coating, because that's not exactly a bead monster either, but they are designed to play with one another, and it is designed to top it. So it'll be interesting to see how things change with 2 coats on the CMX and then the 2 coats on that guy, but we'll add that tonight, and then we'll recheck that water behavior the following morning. All right. Okay guys, punched in real quick here. Doing the second coats, so CMX will get its second coat on this side. Turtle Wax will get its first coat of the spray coating, the second coat of the pairing on this side. I've pushed everything over to here because CMX has to apply in here, so I'm doing it first. Yeah, this is going to be like 2 seconds of video, but whatever. Okay, so apply to the applicator, get in. Same as last time. Has like a licorice-y sambuca kind of smell. Don't drink it. Okay, leave that to set up. Again, no big deal. Moving on. Going to be applying the spray coating Ta-da. I actually started applying this and my gimbal decided to fall over, so I am reapplying it. Like, I haven't even wiped it off yet, it just fell within the first 2 seconds. So if you see residue on the paint before I've started doing this, that's why. But much runnier than CMX, but still, you know, fairly substantial. This might be a bit of a thicker coat than what it's normally getting, but it should wipe off fine. This stuff isn't picky. But you can take it off right away and, oh, it smells so good. So, cloth, wipe, wipe, flip it. Usually you want to flip these guys between wiping, and you want to sort of go in stages because it can get thick. This one's not too bad though, pretty cooperative. Flippy. Sometimes I find the low nap works a little better. So I use this side to sort of spread it in a few times. And then wipe it with this guy. And now there's no residue. And voila. Alright, I'm gonna go buff off the CMX side and we'll go back to it. Okay, I appear to be battling a possessed gimbal, but this has been on here for more than a few minutes, so I'm going to wipe it off really quickly, but wait for every time. Actually, this is going quite smoothly. Not too much drama considering it was on there for about 5 minutes instead of 2. Doesn't state 2, but I wouldn't push it much fast. It's kind of warm in here right now. Flip. Not too bad, not too bad. I like to always flip back to the low nap side just for the final buff because it cuts a little bit harder. Yes. All good. No drama. Pull up the tape. And we're done. We will check the hydroponics tomorrow. It won't be 24 hours of cure, but it be good enough. All right, till tomorrow. Okay, everybody, it is after the second coat. So 24 hours between the 2 coats. So 2 sprays of CMX, 1 of the Polish Max, 1 of the ceramic spray coating for the turtle wax side. I blow dried off all the water just not to spoil the water behavior because it's pissing rain right now. But yeah, we're just going to check the hydrophobics here and then we will start the long-term journey between these 2 and see where we end up. CMX is going to get the initial water behavior leg up, but we'll see how long those last. I'm not going to wash it that often. I'm going to try and, you know, do it as needed, not as wanted sort of thing, just so I'm not doing any undue wear and tear on the products that don't need it. But yes, so once again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next ones and the updates.